Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Tiffany White, and I am commissioner with the Philadelphia Women's Commission. And I'm super excited regarding this event tonight. I am so happy that we have amazing partners that are part of this event. So first and foremost, I would like to say thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight for this event, for all the inspiring entrepreneurs in the community who are willing to work hard to become great at what they do. And so I want to introduce you to Diane Foreman Levy. She is the chief disruptor of Women's Way. And she is an amazing person. I had the opportunity of meeting her through the Philadelphia Women's Commission. And just speaking from my heart, I think that this woman is open to helping the community, and I appreciate her time and efforts in being here tonight. So thank you so much, Diane. Thank you so much for just opening this opportunity for so many women of color who wants to have this opportunity of funding for their businesses.
So thank you, Tiffany. It's really an honor to be here among so many, I'm assuming a lot of women entrepreneurs out there that are really trying to build and create their businesses. And thank you, Tiffany and Javita, for helping coordinate this. And we heard that there was 325 people registered for this event. So obviously there's a great need and interest to talk about how we drive more capital to women of color entrepreneurs. As Tiffany said, I'm the chief disruptor at Women's Way. And for those who don't know Women's Way, we've been around for 45 years, really working to advance the status of women and girls in the region. And our mission is really to make sure that all women achieve economic liberation, no matter who they are. And so when I came on board in 2017, about 6 years ago, we were at a crossroads, Women's Way, that we were either going to close our doors because there was a lot of problems with the organization, or we're going to restructure to make it a more impactful organization in the region that will really truly advance the health, well-being, and economic status of all women. So it was a great challenge and a great honor to be hired to do that work. And when I came on board, I said we have to deal with the economic insecurity of women, period, particularly women of color. They're at the bottom of the economic pyramid. The gender and racial wealth gap has just gotten worse over the years. And again, those most impacted by economic injustices are women of color because of the intersection of racism and sexism and all the things that stem from white supremacy. So we started this journey where we started something called the Women's Economic Security Initiative in 2017, which was a collective impact initiative, which means we have to bring people from different sectors together to address a complex issue such as the gender and racial wealth gap. So we organized and convened over 120 partners from government, for-profit, business, philanthropy, nonprofit sector, and really important, women who are most impacted by economic injustices were at the table from the very beginning, co-creating strategies and solutions, because we feel that those who are closest to the injustices are closest to the solutions. And so we started that in 2017, and a long-term partner has been Javita Hill, the Office of Public Engagement for Women. And like I said, we've had many partners coming together. And we decided in 2021 to transition it to the Gender Wealth Institute, because we really wanted to be clear that we're not just about getting women jobs. It's not enough. It's about really building wealth and assets for women. And we know one way to do that is through entrepreneurship. And so we started the Gender Wealth Institute in 2021. And then I met these two amazing individuals who are going to be talking to you very shortly, Tanya Morris and Jason Ray. And we engaged in this long-term journey over a year ago about how do we drive more capital to women of color entrepreneurs? How do we bridge that gap? How do we open doors for women that don't have access to wealthy friends and wealthy family because of the 400 years of wealth extraction from people of color in this country? And so we had these weekly meetings every Friday morning at 8 o'clock, where we just started talking and like, what do we do and how do we move forward? And we said, well, let's just do a pitch competition. Let's raise some money for women of color entrepreneurs. And we were able to raise about $150,000. And that was in December 2022 or 2020, whatever. And yeah, go ahead, John. And we raised the money, and we had 10 finalists, and the top finalists received a $50,000 grant and made a huge impact on her company. As well as the other second and third place, it really made an impact on the growth of their company. So we then said, how do we really drive more than 150,000 millions of dollars of capital and resources to women of color entrepreneurs? So you're going to be hearing a lot more about that, called Phirst Market Ventures, from these two amazing partners of mine, collaborators, that has really been an honor to work with. So I'm going to briefly introduce you to Tanya Morris and Jason Ray.
Diane,
Tanya,
real quick,
yes,
before you introduce, I just want one quick house rule, just letting folks know, if you have any questions, please enter them into the chat. I failed to mention at the beginning, but I also put it in the chat as well.
great, no problem. So Tanya Morris is the founder and mentor mogul of Mom Your Business, whose mission is to help Black, Brown, female entrepreneurs achieve exponential business growth through mentoring, coaching, and advocacy. And Mom Your Business provides support and resources so that they no longer have to choose between family, business, or occupation. They can have it all. Man, I love that, because that is an issue for so many women, trying to choose between, do I grow my business? Do I take care of my family? So Tanya gets it. And I think what she's created has just been a truly impactful organization. She is also the co-founder and managing partner of Phirst Market Ventures, which you'll learn about very soon. And then Jason Ray, my other partner in crime, is the founder and investment director of Zenith Wealth Partners. It is 100% minority-owned business whose mission is to eliminate systemic wealth inequality by delivering accessible, objective advice that creates financial success for their clients. And Jason is so grounded in how do we build a new ecosystem in the financial wealth management world that really creates true equity for all women and men. And he's also the co-founder and general partner of Phirst Market Ventures. And my role is I'm a co-founder of this investment fund and Women's Way is a lead investor of the fund, as well as an advisor. So I am going to hand it off to these two amazing individuals to talk to you more about what they're doing in the Phirst Market Ventures. So thank you.
Thanks for the introduction, Diane. Tiny, sorry.
Good.
I just want to say, express gratitude for everybody for joining. We've been working to really provide capital and try to stimulate the ecosystem of women of color entrepreneurs in this city for, as Diane mentioned, almost like 18 months now. We live this weekly on calls and working together. So it's a pleasure and an honor to share a little bit more about our work, and hopefully it can help those on this call and those watching this call later. Like Diane said, I'm Jason Ray. I am the founder of Zenith Wealth Partners, and really at Zenith, it is our core belief that investing in diverse leadership teams that are trying to solve big problems will lead to financial outperformance, but also societal benefits that don't currently exist. As we look at companies in the early stages of their business and getting started, there's such a gap in friends and family money and early stage capital for businesses in general, minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses as compared to white male-owned businesses. And like Diane said, when you put the intersectionality of race and gender in an early stage company, the statistics will say it's a lot harder for women of color to get that friends and family capital. So that's the gap that we're trying to fill. Hopefully there's some companies in this call that can learn and hopefully apply for the fund, but I won't steal Tanya's thunder, and I'll kick it over to her to introduce and get started on the presentation. But thank you all for being here, and thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jason. Good evening, everyone. Tanya Morris. I see a couple people in the chat that I've known throughout my career. So excited to be a part of Phirst Market Ventures. Mom Your Business has been around since 2017. And in 2021, we launched our Business Accelerator Program, Founders to Funders, which is an 8-week intensive business accelerator for women currently in business looking to grow and or scale their business. And so I'm excited. I'm going to also share that we have a new program that we're launching, which is a technical assistance program to help small businesses in 3 areas, which is digital marketing, cybersecurity, as well as operations. Cybersecurity, many small businesses are more vulnerable than any other of the larger companies, because simply, to be frank, we just don't have the resources to possibly ensure that we are not at risk of our business. So that's a new program that we're going to launch, and you can find out about that and our other services on our website at mommybusiness.com. But I want to talk today about Phirst Market Ventures, and I'm going to share my screen. All right, can everyone see that? Everyone see that? Yes, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. So just a quick introduction on the unmet need in venture capital as we see it. Between 35 to 40% of the global financial gap for women entrepreneurs is well over 300 billion, and Black women own 90% less wealth than white men. And so additionally, when you think about the fact that Black women entrepreneurs are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, yet the least funded, that makes even more important the need of a fund, of an opportunity like we're presenting as it relates to Phirst Market Ventures. And so our thesis is simply to diversity. Diversity is the reason, is how we do what we do. And we want to fuel outcomes and help historically underserved founders have a unique drive for success. Studies show that when Black women businesses are growing and thriving, when we are a key part of the economic system, everyone else is doing well. The country, the economy is doing well also.
Tanya, real quick, your presenter window is up.
Okay.
And also people are saying to expand it. They don't, because it has all your little slides, but can you just get the,
So
like
you guys aren't looking at, you aren't seeing what I'm seeing. That's what I was asking.
oh, okay.
So hold on one second.
No problem.
All right.
Present full screen. No.
Yeah, click present full screen. That should work.
Yeah, click present. Yeah, I think that will make it full, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Ah, beautiful.
yes. Okay.
Beautiful.
My bad.
No, that's all right.
Okay. So welcome to PNB. So PNB provides a unique investment vehicle, and this investment vehicle is what is considered a modified option contract. And so what we do first is we provide a $50,000 investment that acts as an option premium. And this premium conveys the right, but not the obligation for PNB to invest in the company before at predetermined terms. So I'm gonna ask Jason to kind of put that in everyday language for those of you who are like me, like, okay, well, what exactly does that mean as far as an options contract? And is it free money? Is it equity? Is it a loan? But it's not any of those things. So Jason, you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely, Tanya, thanks. We are trying to replace friends and family early stage money by making a $50,000 investment into a company. That investment, think if like an uncle or a family member gave you some money to start a business, they may not want it back if you fail, right? And you may not have to pay it back. But if you go to raise another financing round and raise more money in the future, they probably want you to call them to allow them to invest again, right? Because you're probably doing well. This is the same thing, right? We wanted to provide like risk-free money, similar to a grant, to companies that will allow them to experiment in the early stage with marketing or hiring or technology development. And if the company raises money in the future, this $50,000 investment will allow us as PMV to follow on an investment, hopefully at a larger sum at a later date.
Thank you, Jason. And so let's look at some examples. So here's an example. PMV invest in a company, 50K premium, 12-month maturity, right? And then investment terms of a safe note, which I'm gonna ask Jason to explain what a safe note is, with a $2 million cap on that investment value of 2K. These terms reflect the current value of the company. So that what that means is that these numbers here, the 2 million and 250 kind of are showing you what the value of that business. And if you look at the scenario, what this says is that what we want to do is we want to see you grow. We want to see you success. So we will be putting, metrics. We want to follow your growth and see how you're doing as you begin to approach and possibly raise another round. And then the company that underperforms its metrics after 12 months, the contract expires without any investment from PMV. You're not returning any money back to us. You just go on and you continue to thrive and grow, hopefully, and on the next stage of your business. You want to add anything to that, Jason?
That's a good recap. I really think it's important to highlight the fact that, this is not a loan, right? If you, don't proceed and continue with your business, that $50,000 is not payable back. It doesn't convert to equity in the future or anything like that. So it is risk-free. It's very similar to a grant, as we mentioned, but it does give PMV that right to follow on invest if you choose to go that direction.
If you choose to go that direction. And you can see, again, this is laid out right here. It's important for founders who do not have the connections for a friend and family round. The company, again, receives $50,000 in non-diluted funding to really help and fill that gap. I like to call it the gap filler, where you always, when you need capital, where you may find yourself needing to invest in your business to go to that next level. And so our niche, we are obviously based in Philadelphia. We're looking to invest along the central Atlantic coast, so from New York to DC, with a focus on the Philadelphia region. So that obviously includes the 5 counties, South Jersey and Delaware. We're not looking for any specific type of big growing business, right? We like gritty. We want somebody that we really believe in, founders that, have a fire, that are really driven by their business. And nor are we looking at a particular sector. Certainly there are sectors that are more successful. There are sectors that are more focused or more popular right now, like tech. But we're looking for businesses that are really generating revenue, that are growing, that are moving in that right direction. And we want to make the seed and pre-seeded rounds that lead to more success for those businesses. Just a little bit on the criteria. And again, this is not, this is not like, okay, this is the criteria. If I don't meet this, I'm out. This is just what we aspire to, because we really want to focus on socially minded investments for us as a company. And so these are some of the socially minded investment criteria. Again, strong leadership team. We like gritty. So many businesses have moved and been able to pivot over these last 2 years as we've been able, as we've been in these unique situations with this, with COVID. Again, businesses that have a gender and racial equality focus, those that are responsible consumption and production, and then those that have an understanding of their market, that they know their market, they understand their business, they understand how they're growing, and then those that show, again, that they have the potential to scale. We want to build a $100 million company right here in the city of Philadelphia, led by a Black woman. Jason, you want to add anything to that?
I think you hit the nail on the head there. We want to create, and help and be a part of a huge effort that creates a business and hopefully multiple businesses with that kind of valuation and that kind of growth and traction and reach.
And so as a part of that, obviously, we're not gonna, put money into a company and then send you on your merry way. No, we want to be able to support you. So we want, again, I was talking to a founder yesterday, and she was like, yo, this is a founder friendly term that you all have created here. And she was so excited when she found out about PMV, and then having access to our network of investors, our network of supportive services to help you to grow your business. And then institutional level financial advice, having a partner like Zenith Wealth Partners on it does business modeling and as well as financial planning to support you as a founder, as well as in your business. And then being an accessible resource. This is what we really want to do to help our founders to grow, and taking it a step further than some other firms may as investors, to ensure that you continue to grow. And so, as Diane mentioned earlier, back in 2021, we did a pitch competition. It was called the Raise Roundup, where we gave away $150,000 in non-diluted capital to 10 founders. And many of them have achieved such astronomical success in their business. And I'm going to show you a couple examples of that. And I'll start with our grand prize winner, Angela McIver, who will tell you she was really literally on the brink of closing her doors when she won this contest. And so this led to 100% increase in her revenue. 47% geographical services covered the expansion of her business. And now she's looking to close her first $500K pre-seed round at an $8 million cap. I am so excited for Angela and where she is and where she's growing and how she's growing her business. And she was someone that had to pivot. Her business was done in person. Trapezium was an in-person entity. She had to pivot due to COVID, again, was on the brink of closing her doors. And now she's well on her way to achieving great things. Carla Clarkson, Honey Blow was another one of our top 10 winners. Carla's been a hairstylist for over 20 years. The funds that she won, the 20K that she won, she was able to use to purchase inventory, website redesign, do some hiring. This led to a 20% increase in her revenue. She has been on QVC twice since being a part of the Raise Roundup. And this was actually her first time actually pitching, and we were able to provide her support with putting together her pitch deck. We created a space for all of our founders to practice and work with them to put them in the best position to have the best opportunity to be successful, not just in the Raise Roundup, but going forward. And she recently got a deal with a product placement in 6 beauty supply stores for her oil shots in the city as well. And then Kimberly McGlone, Dr. Kimberly McGlone of Grant Boulevard, another one of our winners. And Kimberly has won multiple grant opportunities, and she is an advocate for justice and environmentalism, works with women to help them create jobs, and is right now in the process of relocating onto the University of Pennsylvania campus. So Kimberly is doing it big, really proud of her, another one of our winners. And so just a little bit as we wrap up about the team. Again, you met most of us. Again, myself, as a co-founder and managing partner, Jason, Diane, and Chelsea, who's also a member of Jason's team over at Zine, the co-founder and starter planner. And so these are the people behind this opportunity, and we are excited for what we have and what we are doing. So that is Phirst Market Ventures.
So
All
I
right.
think
All right. Wow, that's a lot of great information, Tanya and Jason. Thank you so very much. I see all these hand claps and hearts and party hats inside the chat. So we have quite a few questions that our guests asked. We have 135 participants. And so I'm going to bring up some of the questions that came about. So Leona Brown, if we can use it for nonprofits, can the money be used towards purchasing buildings?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Okay. So her question was, if we could use it for nonprofits, the funding, can the money be used towards purchasing buildings?
I'm gonna let Jason answer.
Yeah, so right now, and I saw some other questions too about nonprofit. Right now, we're looking for for-profit companies that are early stage, like for-profit, small businesses or startups that are hoping to use the investment capital to invest in their business. We won't fund right now a purchase of real estate. I think it's a great question though, and there's some resources out there that may be able to help you acquire some real estate if you are a nonprofit. There's SBA loans that you can get actually through the Enterprise Center. It's a Philadelphia-based lender. There are some local foundations like the Fells Fund, depending on what type and how large the building is. The Fells Fund may be able to provide a loan to purchase, buildings for your organization. I would look to explore those, those two options. Unfortunately, our fund is set up to invest in companies, not real estate. Thanks for the question. That's a good one. And
Diane, would you like to speak to the general operating grant that Women's Way has for nonprofit organizations?
Yeah, we have a general operating fund, and it's actually dedicated, prioritizes nonprofits led by women of color. And so it's unrestricted funding up to $10,000 per year for 2 years, multi-year funding. And actually the cycle is open right now. And I think it's closing pretty soon. So if you go to womensway.org, you can get the application. It's very simple. We try to streamline it, but for those nonprofit folks here and you want some general operating support multi-year, definitely apply.
And I would also add to check the Valentine Foundation. They also have 2 tracks for nonprofit organization. One is for leadership development. They open at different times of the year. But if you Google Valentine Foundation, you'll see the 2 tracks that they have for nonprofit organizations as well.
Awesome. So now my next question is, sorry, hold on 1 second, guys. So I think you all answered this question already, but I'll just reiterate it again just for clarity. So Julia Rainbow asks, are startups able to receive this funding?
Yes. Startups.
so we're looking for.
They're looking for startups, ladies. They're looking for startups. And the next question from John Bowie, what kinds of businesses are eligible? And I think you all answered this, LLCs. And then Jason, you did clarify about the 501c3s.
Correct.
The next question from Lydia, will these slides be made available at the end of the presentation?
I can answer that. We'll be sending up a follow-up email with a link to the recording, as well as all the resources mentioned during this presentation.
Awesome. A few more questions. Is there a specific number of businesses you are going to invest in?
Good question.
Great question. We're targeting around 50 businesses to invest in.
Awesome.
And for companies interested in applying, I did put in the chat a link to phirstmarketventures.com. It's a big apply button right on the home screen. We talk a little bit more about our philosophy and our process and our investment thesis, as Tanya went over on the slides. But that information is also on our website. And I noticed some questions too about like when do you need to apply, or how, like what stage of the business. And we're doing rolling applications, so you can start applying, tonight. We'll probably take applications for the next couple of years as we continue to raise the fund and make investments and deploy the money that investors give us for this effort.
Awesome. Now I'm going to go over to the chat really quick. There's a few questions in here. Eugenia Fitzhugh. If an owner moves beyond the $50,000 award and choose to receive additional investment funds, does your company charge for the support you offer, and do you own a piece of the company?
So we will not charge for any services. So all the stuff that Tanya talked about, our founder support model, relationships to institutional investors, our business planning services. Once a company receives that $50,000 investment, we will provide that all included. If the company goes back out to raise another financing round and follow on, we will hopefully participate and exercise our right and participate in that round. We wouldn't charge the company for any, due diligence or anything like that. There's no cost to the company. And after that next round is when we would have ownership in the company, if that's how the terms dictate. But that original $50,000 check does not dictate any ownership in the company at all.
Awesome. And I have one more other question. It said, what happens if you have 2 or more businesses? I guess basically if you can apply, if you have 2 or more businesses, business ideas, startups.
Well, not ideas. We're looking for companies that are in business, right? So in business, generating revenue. If you were to go to the Phirst Market Ventures website, you would only be able to apply for one business at a time. So you would have to decide which business you're going to submit. But we are focused on businesses, companies that are in business and preferably generating revenue.
Awesome. Thank you, Tanya. And I'm going to take one more question. Let's see.
I saw something there I wanted to answer, Tiffany.
Oh, you did?
And then let me go back down. Where'd it go? It said, can you provide a flavor of what you are looking for in the pitch deck as part of the application? So I can't really say, when you said flavor, that was what caught my attention, because I said, oh yeah, I like that, the flavor. Yeah, we want it to be spicy. So yeah, no, we a pitch deck, that is it's really subjective on that. And one pitch coach may tell you one thing and another pitch coach may tell you another. I'll just tell you from my experience and when I work with our founders, is that any good pitch has 10 minimum slides, and those slides tell your story of your business. And so, you have a slide that looks at your competition, you have a slide that talks about your products or services, your team. So how you put together the pitch deck, much like you saw the deck that we presented tonight, is really about how you tell your story.
Awesome. I actually can take a few more questions if Jason and Tanya and Diane, if you all are okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually going along with the schedule.
Let me answer this other one here, Tiffany.
Sure.
I don't see it. Someone's asking about do they need to know how to write a grant in order to apply for the grant? The answer is no. There's one application. And it's just asking a series of questions. And just so to be clear, so you would apply the grant that gets our attention. And then we have a due diligence process where we basically interview you, talk with you, get to know your business, what your goals are, what your plans are for your business, how you see your business growing in the future. And then that's how we kind of move through the process.
Awesome. Jovita, you have your hand up?
I do. A couple of things. First, just sort of underscoring what Tanya and Jason has said, that these are for businesses that are already operating. And even though these are startups, these are already businesses. So if you are pre-startup, so to speak, and you're trying to get your business up and running, Tanya, could you address, and you, Jason, as well, address the kinds of resources are available? So say, for instance, if your business is not ready to apply. So that's the first part. If your business is not ready to apply, what are those resources available? And then the second question, after addressing that, the philanthropic side of what's going on, just in terms of attracting new investors to make Phirst Market Ventures have more capital to invest in more Black and brown women-owned businesses.
So I'll take the first part of that and I'll let Jason take the second part of that. So, but thank you for that question, Jovita. So one thing, and Diane probably wants to jump in here too about this ecosystem in the Philadelphia region and how we do things in these different pockets of the world in a lot of ways, but there are a plethora of resources in the city of Philadelphia. We are partners with LA21 out in West Philadelphia. We are partners with Vested In, which is a CDFI. We also work with the Enterprise Center as well. When Jason works with the Enterprise Center, we work with the Science Center as well as there's Temple has a Small Business Development Center, and we're also partners with CCP's Power Up program. There's SCORE Philadelphia, which provide mentors as well. So if you're looking to start a business, there are a plethora of resources. And I'm also going to drop the link in the chat for our Business Accelerator program, which is Founders to Funders as well. So there are a plethora of resources throughout the region to help you with starting your business, to get you to the place of validating the business idea that you have in order to get to a point where venture capital is even an option for you.
And Jason, you're gonna answer the second part?
I can only answer the second part so much. I'll say that the funds available, for PMV, we are hoping to start making investments. We're going through the due diligence period over the next couple of months, and hopefully we'll start making investments and funding those investments this spring and summer. I would encourage folks to apply. Now is the time where we're really starting to get a sense of, who's out there, what businesses we should be looking at, who we should be building relationships with and taking through our due diligence process, which isn't, it's not necessarily something that happens overnight, right? I think it's a relationship building process, and we want to get started as soon as possible so we can, hit our timeline of late spring, early summer to start making investments and funding our commitments.
Can I just chime in here about the philanthropic world? So we are a lead investor. So Women's Way is investing $100,000, and that's coming out of the return on our investments. So this is the 4%. Well, we just increased it to 5%, and we decided to put most of that return not into our operating costs, but into PMV, to Phirst Market Ventures. So you'll hear a lot about social impact investing, mission aligned investing, and there are a lot of foundations now that are looking at their investment portfolio and say, how do we start shifting some of our investments that address some of these inequities and injustices, whether it's gender injustices, environmental injustices. And Jason's been a real leader in this space, working with different foundations. So that's one way of how we're raising money for Phirst Market Ventures. So they're really looking at their portfolio investments. And so we're very committed that over the next few years, we want to have 100% of our investments only going to companies that are going to advance gender and racial equity. So I think that's a really important strategy for foundations to be able to help build funds like this, and also align their investments with the mission of their organizations.
Awesome. Naima Dunbar has a question. How often will this opportunity be available and how many times can you apply?
Great question. We will have a rolling application and we'll have a 3-year investment period. So our funding source will be available, for the next couple of years. I would encourage you, if you don't think that your application or your company is, where it could be when you receive funding or otherwise, I'd encourage you to go, talk to Tanya, go through Founders of Funders, get your pitch deck created, right? Go to the Enterprise Center's MBE Equity Multiplier Program, get a set of financials created, get your pitch deck created, right? And size up the timeline for your application. I would not encourage folks, once we say this isn't really a fit, unless there's a material change in the business or, a founder starts a new business, then I think, we would welcome a new application. But yeah, this is going to last for a couple of years, and we will be consistently looking for opportunities to find a network with new founders and new business ideas and businesses, excuse me.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. And then she did have another part of the question. Well, can you use it if you already set up your LLC? However, you need the funding to start your business. Will you have a business plan?
So this again is not for startups. You should be in business to receive the funds. As far as the business structure, that's something that we would address during our due diligence process.
And then LaWanda Horton, she asked about a pitch coach.
You're looking at her.
So Tanya Morris is the pitch coach. Awesome.
And I dropped our Founder to Funder website in the chat.
Yeah. We do want to emphasize this is really trying to provide a comprehensive, holistic approach to helping women of color entrepreneurs grow their companies. So it's not just here's money. And also there was a question about, well, what if I don't get money from PMV? We're going to try our best to say, okay, this wasn't a fit for us, but let's connect you to someone else.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the ecosystem we're trying to create. And that's why we call it kind of a collective impact model, because we have to all come together and leverage all the resources that are in our system and help people connect to those that are the best fit for your company at that time. Right.
Great point, Diane. Thank you.
I have a question, or actually, it's not really a question. It really is a request. I would like to ask you, Tanya, you, Diane, you, Jason, to help us put together a resource guide that we can post on our webpage so that a lot of the resources that have been mentioned here, we have a landing place for people to go to see these are the resources. So I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but yeah, I'm putting you on the spot. I'm asking you to help us put together a resource guide.
And I say, yes, I'm going to speak for myself. I think this is something that Philadelphia is always horrible at, to be honest, about, coordinating and cross referrals. And I think one role Women's Way can play is help put that together. We're not a manager of this fund. We're just an investor and advisor, but I'm all about how do we leverage all those resources in an easy, accessible way. So, and that's part of the problem. People don't even know what's available. right? And so we'll start putting that together. And I'd be glad to take the Women's Way to take the lead on that, Jovita.
Thank you so much, because as we all know, information is power.
Yes, it is.
And if we're going to succeed in this ecosystem, it takes all of us working together to make sure that we have the powerful resources that people need to succeed. So, and I thank you all for that. So, yeah, Diane, you know, I'm going to be calling you on the phone, and you said, yeah, you'll take a lead. And I will make sure you're accountable.
Oh, no problem. And Jill Frink, who's also one of our collaborators on this from the Merchants Fund, just put her website address in there, and they provide small grants to assisting small businesses. And there's some other new things coming up, that one's focusing more on immigrants, Latino businesses. So yeah, we're collecting that information. So we'll definitely work on this.
Thank you.
So
You're welcome.
Jovita, do you want me to get some more questions, or you're on mute? Jovita, you're on mute. Oh.
Okay, we still have 15 minutes left, and I invite any additional questions while we have these amazing people on hand with these amazing resources. Please ask away.
All right, so there's a bunch of questions. So here I have, let's see.
So let me answer this question by Sharice about an author. I can't say no, Sharice, because I don't know. Are you self-published? Is that a publishing company that's applying? You know what I mean? You have to, just kind of an author. I'm an author, right? So, I mean, I can't just say yes or no to a question like that. It's more than, can an author apply? You certainly, want to go to the website, take a look, and identify if it's, if it's a good fit for you.
I know some people asked about I'm sorry,
Go ahead, Diane.
the application process, but it's pretty clearly described on the PMV's website, right? Which I think, did we put the link in there? It's very, very straightforward in terms of what you have to do, what you have to submit. So I just wanted to say that.
Asking about the judging of growth on business taxes. I'm gonna defer to Jason on that, on how we judge growth.
We had a good question in the chat actually as well, just about like, are dollars the only measure of growth that you're measuring? And absolutely not. We will look at, we will certainly look at sales and revenue growth, but we'll also look at team growth, right? Jobs created, particularly here in the Philadelphia region. I think that's really important for companies that are getting funding. We'll look at impact growth and like how the company is impacting its local environment or national environment if it's big. So it's not just evaluating, the revenue of the company, but when we are evaluating that, we won't use tax returns. We will use financial statements that the company provides to us. And we'll cross-reference that with like bank statements, so we'll get into like deeper due diligence and decision-making phase. So great question. And the tax return is an interesting source to look, but we won't be looking at those to make final decisions.
Salima Pace had a question. I have a very new LLC making small revenue monthly, under 1,000 per month. I need funding for website creation, insurance, and marketing. Is this covered with investor capital?
It definitely could be. I mean, it depends on the business and the company and your long-term ambitions. I mean, I would maybe provide a blanket level of advice without knowing too much about your company, and appreciate the question. I think our program and our funding is really for folks that, have a new company that's starting to get some traction, and they're like, all right, I need to put more money behind this because I'm getting good traction and I want to take it to the next level. Or companies that have been doing, their business and operating for a while, but want to make a change to maybe change their future growth rate, or change, the way that they want to go to market, or move from, hardware to software, right? But like a pivot is what we're looking to participate in. So for companies that if you want to grow and you're ambitious and you have lofty goals and you have some traction, then I think it's a perfect fit to apply, no matter the kind of business it is.
Awesome, great. And Carlina asked a question. After applying and the application is reviewed and it is not a good fit for PMV at that time, will you provide and direct the applicant to best resources? And I think you all kind of
Yes.
Yes.
definitely answered that question earlier
Yes.
on. Okay.
There's a question
about,
from,
okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, I just saw one from Tanya. When does the program with Mom Your Business start? Is that the founders, the funders?
Yeah, so we're going through applications now, so I would encourage you to apply. And so we're very selective in our cohort. So we like to have a really good, strong cohort. So I would encourage you to apply, and we're looking to probably start a cohort, our next cohort sometime this spring, probably in May.
Okay. Someone has a question, Ruth. She said, can a youth business make a pathway to this investment opportunity?
I'm gonna defer.
All right, Tiffany, I think I may have broken up. Can you repeat that question?
Can a youth business make a pathway to this investment opportunity?
Good question. I don't think that we have like age requirements. As long as you're old enough to be in business and earn income, I don't see why we wouldn't. I was actually just talking to somebody's last night. Her son had like a TikTok that had like a 1.5 million followers, and he's doing math problems on the TikTok, and he's starting to sell pencils. And they were like, "Can you give him some advice?" And I was like, maybe. He's 11 years old. I'm like, well, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
He had a
Some
business.
boss youth entrepreneurs out here, like
Yeah.
the boss.
Which reminds me of something else, and this just came up. Thank you for that question. And that means that this presentation needs to be repeated with the Office of Youth Engagement, because the Office of Youth Engagement has some young entrepreneurs. Some of them are teenagers, some of them are Gen X's and millennials. And so a different cohort other than the cohort that the Philadelphia Commission for Women brings, I'm suggesting that I will take a responsibility for making the connection with the Office of Youth Engagement to make this opportunity available to young people, if that's okay with you, Jason, Diane, and Tanya.
Well, just remember, we are focused on women of color. So
yes,
women.
Wait, you know I got that.
So, yeah, some women of color. So that's our focus.
Some color who I believe doing stuff. So I will see what kind of magic I can make.
Oh, Jill just dropped a great resource in the chat for some young people.
All right, LaWanda Horton has a question. Is $50K the set amount per business? Would the program consider investing less, say 25K, 30K, if substantial growth could occur with less money?
Look, I'm open to considering anything. I think going through the application process, like if we review it and it could make sense. The way our fund math works, though, we're trying to keep it formulaic. On our side, this is a math. The more shots that we take and the more investments we make, the higher chance of success. So we try to stick to our equation and our formula, but we're always happy to take a look. So thanks for the question. And I wouldn't rule it out.
Awesome. And let's see. Let's see what we have.
There's a question, what are qualifications from Anne? I think that's the eligibility requirements. That's on the website too, right, Jason? Did you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. That is on the Phirst Market Ventures website. And maybe it could be an interesting thing for me to just like show you all the application quickly here on the screen. It's
Yeah,
just one
that would be
page.
great just to
I'll be
show it.
fast with it. So if you go to, and we put it in the chat, but if you go to firstmarketventures.com, you'll see a big button that says apply here. And when you click apply here, you'll see this application in front of you. So, I'll read them. Is there one C-level executive that's a woman of color? What's your name? What's your company's name? Where are you? Right? We're regionally focused. Here's a quick section for a quick pitch. No more than 280 characters. We asked for your website, but that's not required. And then there was a question about how do we know what stage you're in? So we do ask the stage of the business. This is an idea. It's early stage, pre-revenue, post-revenue. Are you in growth stage? Take your best guess here. We'll also be able to know by the deck and like where you are from a traction standpoint, but please, give us an indication. And then we have a PDF drop for your pitch deck. Like Tanya said, 8 to 11 slides is probably the sweet spot for your pitch deck. And in that pitch deck, I'd make sure you outline, the problem you're trying to solve, your solution, who your team is and why you're qualified. And then your ask from a fundraising standpoint, like from a dollar amount, what do you need for your business? And then anything else you'd want us to know? Maybe there's some pivot that you want to make that's not in your deck or otherwise, so we give you some space to talk through that. So that's the whole application. It's pretty short, particularly if you already have your pitch deck made and complete. You can fill that out in probably 10 minutes. Please apply. We will, get them and respond back in pretty short order. So, you'll know where you stand pretty short in pretty short amount of time.
Well, I think that, there were a lot of questions. I'm hoping that everyone on here, somehow or some way your question was answered. But with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Jovita now to wrap our event up tonight. And again, I want to say thank you all for participating and getting this valuable information.
Tiffany, thank you so much for moderating this very, very important event. And I really want to thank you, Diane, you, Tanya, you, Jason, Phirst Market Ventures, Mom Your Business, Women's Way, for bringing this really very, very important resource. And Diane, you and me will be doing the resource guide. I will be doing, in terms of follow-up, I will be backtracking to the Office of Youth Engagement to find out what young women can benefit from this awesome opportunity. And just thank all of you who have registered and attended. Thank you so very much. Just knowing that you're interested and we have provided a platform for your interest and going forward. I also want to take this time for a little history lesson. And I go way back with Women's Way from its inception. And Women's Way was one of the 5 nonprofit organizations that back in the 1980s, we were the rabble-rousers who opened up United Way for city employees to have donor option. And I was one of the people who drafted the first legislation that became the City of Philadelphia's donor option program. And Women's Way, Bread and Roses, the Center for Responsible Funding were our partners in the idea of equitable philanthropy. And so this is like so uplifting, personally, professionally, in every other way, that we have gotten to this point. And I want to thank you all for getting us to this point. And it also uplifts my belief in the collective impact model for addressing social justice. Thank you all for what you have done. Thank you all for bringing us to this point. And thank you all who attended and who gave us such thought-provoking questions. I appreciate all of you. Have a great evening and a happy Black History Month celebration. Good
Thank
day.
you, Rita. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Jason and Diane, I'll see y'all Friday at 8 a.m.
As always. Good night, everyone. Bye.